Welcome to episode 11 of Photogromer Stock to Nut. Here we go. Bike, motor, parts. Let's go!
All right, guys, I'm back. No worries. Episode 11, stock to knot. We're going to be putting on, which we already did, the oil cooler from Kitaco 5-row. We're going to show you the bracket that we use to be able to mount that. We also have the Koso, obviously, on here from last episode. We're going to be putting on the intake, the throttle body, the, what is this thing called? Intake manifold. So we got it all together. Fuel injector. So we got a lot of good stuff happening. All right, guys, if you're not familiar with the build series, Patreon funded build series, they're behind this in the live chat, getting a special show today. So if you want to join us, $1 a month Kitchen and Club, names are scrolling down there, individuals that support this show directly and the channel. We also have support from different manufacturers. Koso obviously supporting a lot of this build series, Steady Garage, so we got Chimera as well, so a lot of different components going on this. Full parts list down below, check it out. All right, so we're going to dive into this. We're going to do something special this week. So we got Wally in the studio. He's done with college, so he gets to join us again on the live show on this build series, so expect a familiar face on the episodes coming. But I'm going to hand it over to him. I'm going to work the cameras today. Mike's going to work the cameras today. Andrew and Wally, they're going to hopefully not break things today. All right, let's get to it.
Today we're putting the Koso throttle body on, the intake manifold, big injector. Wally got the gaskets all set up, and he's going to start bolting down to the 4-valve head.
All right, so for the big injector on the throttle body, you've got here where the fuel will come in. And once it comes in here, it goes down into the bigger injector down here. Got your connector out to the ECU. Everything just bolts up very simply, nothing real complicated about it. Other than that, you got two paper gaskets that go in between the little riser here for the throttle body, and this just gets bolted on. It's 4 bolts in total, super easy to put on. Make sure you line it up though, because if you zoom in, you don't want to see the metal coming through here. So if you've got it backwards, you'll know for sure, because there's going to be parts of the metal sticking out from the throttle body. So don't do that.
All right, so we went ahead and installed the Kitaco 5-row oil cooler. We basically have a J bracket or a U bracket, and then a little bracket that bolts onto that, and then the oil cooler bolts onto that. So in total, it's about 3 pieces, oil cooler bracket and bracket. You retain the stock bolts, put 2 more bolts on the bottom, and then we're ready to install it. So if you weren't doing a 4-valve motor, you could use the stock tappet cover. It comes with little 2 bolt holes up top. You can bolt the 5-row cooler right to it, but since we had to get a special bracket for the Kitaco cooler. Basically bolts it up to the frame and out of the way. Really nice setup. To install it, you basically have 2 brackets. You have one that bolts up to the stock airbox holes. You have one more bracket that bolts to that, and then you have your 5-row cooler, which bolts to that. It gets it out of the way. It's a real simple design. So today, Wally is the guest of honor. He's going to be installing the Koso 34mm and the intake manifold. There you go.
They give me the simple stuff so I don't mess it up.
Right here.
Serious, Wally.
All right.
Something went on underneath.
Oh.
It's all good.
All right, let's redo that.
Oh, it's good.
You good? No, I know. I'm going to give it back to you, though.
What are you doing?
I'm installing it.
Step by step.
All right, so you take it and you line it up with the holes that I can't see on the other side, but I can see it on my side. You want to make sure it's facing the right direction, because if it's not, you got to take it off and reinstall it 6 times. And look at that, we got it on the right first time, good to go, bolted up.
So Wally connected the throttle body, the intake. He connected all the connectors for the TPS and everything else. He connected the injector, and we're good to go with the throttle body, and now we just have to connect the intake tube.
This ain't going on, guys.
It's going on. We're going to make it go.
Here, come take a look.
So, you got to make a dirt bike trick here.
All right, subscribers, take a peek in here. So this should just go on. Boop.
Yeah, but this bracket's in the way, right?
Oh, look at this bracket.
Yeah. So you bend that.
So we're going to bend this bracket, and we're going to scratch up your brand new...
No, we're not scratching anything.
We're not scratching anything. Dirt bike tricks.
Dirt bike tricks.
Don't worry about it.
That sounded like a break.
There you go, Wally.
So we bent it down. No, not even enough yet. So
Not enough yet?
Am I in shot?
we're still going.
All right, we're going to need bigger tools.
Am I in shot? Okay.
Oh, I got it. Don't worry about it. Okay, so to make it easy, you can see it. We want to move the little C-clamp down so that when we're positioning it here, we can easily tighten it down. Because if you got that way up here, it ain't gonna happen. So
See, but before all that,
make sure
we're
you
gonna take the intake off. Where is the throttle cables?
We're gonna install throttle
Yeah,
cables.
we got different throttle cables.
All right, guys. So we're gonna go ahead and replace the throttle cables so that we can attach it down here to the throttle body before we go ahead and put the intake on. Easiest way to do that, there's 2 bolts on the bottom here of your kill switch little module. As you take those out, the whole thing just kind of comes apart. You're gonna have the cables sticking out of here. Make sure you remember which ones are on top, which ones are on bottom. What we found out is the bottom one will only have 1 nut on it, while the top one, it's got the 2 screws on it, nuts. So that correlates down here with your new ones.
All right, what'd you do? All right, Wally and Andrew just put the throttle cables on, but then we realized that we have a Chimera quick throttle
We're still doing that?
tube. We're still doing it.
We're still doing it, guys.
Yeah,
We're
we
still doing
got to do it.
We're gonna take it back apart, and we're gonna rip this bad boy off,
Yep,
put that new one on there.
there it is.
So that way we want us to brap in a quarter of the speed. Brap.
Just like that.
So normal one's brap. This is brap.
Grips off. We're sliding on the Chimera quick throttle tube. Picked up at your local Steady Garage.
I don't know if this is the right way or not. It makes sense for it to go this way, but so it's got a different stopper up here. This is what makes it the quick turn. Is this right here? I don't think I can see that part. Is a lot longer than the other one, the stock one, and that causes it to stop up here. But you've got more throttle to just twist back now. So it's gonna pull your throttle even faster.
Gotcha.
That's why it's a quick turn,
All right, that wasn't that hard, was it?
I guess.
Tell me what you're doing.
Screwing in a bolt, my man. Screwing in a bolt. The same ones that came out before
I guarantee that shot didn't come in.
are the same ones that are going right back in.
There they are.
Only one way to put them in, lefty loosey, righty tighty, you know what I'm saying? And boom,
There it is.
quick turn.
So we're gonna adjust the cables. We're gonna get a little bit of slack here. Just want to have a little bit of slack on idle. Ooh, that's snappy. Oh yeah, that's nice. So we're just gonna tighten this back up. All right, we're gonna leave it like that. Cool, good to go.
All right, Andrew and Wally got the throttle cables on, so we use Kitaco Aftermarket throttle cables here. We got the Chimera quick throttle tube. We still got to get a grip for it, so you can see how they adjusted it and put it in. We're now going to move on to the Chimera intake, and we got a K&N filter here. So this is the big bore intake for the bigger throttle body. We also have a stock one. So you can see the size difference there. So if you're running a stock throttle body, this is what you're going to get. If you're going for the big bore, you're going to go for this guy. All right, Andrew, you're up. Get this guy on.
So we're gonna get the Chimera intake. We're gonna slip it in behind the throttle cables. It's a little bit of a tight fit. We're just gonna tighten it down. I believe we are good to go.
And then there's a little like adapter we didn't show you, but inside here there's a little like metal sleeve that just connects these two together. So this is the same K&N filter, whether it's stock or not, or stock throttle body or the big bore, same K&N. So there's like a little sleeve that just goes on there. And then you can see our oil cooler here, and we got our bracket right there, so it's kind of resting right there. What do you think? Pretty good? Throttle cables are still good?
We also have a little nipple here on this side. If you're not going to run a oil catch can like we actually are, you just connect it to that. So we got the intake temperature sensor. I believe what a lot of guys are running, they're just kind of putting them in the atmospheric area. They just kind of tape them right there.
I saw a couple people drill in and stick them in there.
You can do that. You can drill a little hole. You can put it there, a couple zip ties. We'll probably end up doing that and get
Okay.
an accurate
All right, we're not going to do that in this episode. We'll figure out. We'll read into it a little bit more. But this guy's got to go somewhere on there. The stock one from Chimera has a little slot for it, so it goes right in and bolts in. We'll figure that out in a future episode. We're not going to do the catch cam tonight, but we are going to do the oil cooler. So we're good on the intake now?
Yeah.
Pretty simple. Throttle body's good. Intake's good. Throttle cables are good. Now what do we have to do for the oil cooler to install this guy?
All right, so Kitaco supplies you with one hose, radiator cooler, a couple banjos and everything like that. What you're gonna do is you're gonna cut the hose in half. We're gonna slide a few banjos on there. Wally's gonna do that one.
It's hard, guys. All right, it's not easy. It's hard.
All right, we're gonna get a couple hose clamps. We're gonna tighten it down. We're gonna make sure they're out of the way. So Wally's gonna tighten that one up.
Yeah.
Nope.
I'll tighten it up.
You got that.
It's hard.
So Wally's gonna finish up with that. You're gonna get one of the supplied banjo fittings, one of the banjo bolts actually. You're gonna slide a crush washer on it. You're gonna slide it right into the banjo. Slide another crush washer. You're gonna install it right on top of the cooler. Snug it down just a little bit.
I'm still working on the banjo bolts, guys. This is my first time.
What we're gonna do is actually measure the hose and see where we want it to be at. So we don't want a crazy amount of slack, but we want a small amount. So we're gonna probably cut it right around there. All right, tighten down this hose clamp. You get one of our banjo fittings. I'm gonna put a crush washer on it. Put it right there. Put another crush washer out back.
This looks pretty dang good, y'all.
Tighten that down. Wally got the other side. Tighten down.
Hey, Andrew didn't break anything this time, guys, so.
Just gonna put a couple zip ties on it. So we installed all the banjos, tightened them down, cut the lines to length. We got enough slack for any movement, and we're good to go. So you're gonna have to put a little bit of extra oil. I believe they recommend something of 0.25 quarts or something like that. We have the side cover glass, so what we're gonna do is fill up with oil. When we first start it, we're gonna start it up, let the oil flow through, we're gonna stop it, we're gonna check the sight glass, make sure we're good to go. Check it a few times. We don't know the exact number. I think it's 0.25 or something like that. So we're just gonna keep a close eye on it. So we got Competition Werkes exhaust here. We have a O2 bung that was welded in right here. We're gonna be running the wideband in there for the A-Racer so we can actually screw the O2 onto it. Snug that down. The O2 bung, you're gonna get a correct reading off the head for the air-fuel ratios. Stock one, you will have a O2 sensor off the head. We're no longer gonna be using that with A-Racer. We're gonna be a little bit more accurate here because we're doing a lot more high performance stuff. So this will give you a more accurate reading and we'll be able to tune it a little bit better. So we're just gonna bolt this on, 2 header bolts, 2 bottom bolts they supply you, and that's it. All right, so we got a crush gasket on the exhaust. We're just gonna slide that on there. We got 2 bolts for the header. And Competition Werkes supplies you with 2 Allen key bolts. We're gonna slide those on the bottom of the motor.
And that's how you do it, boys. That goes right on there. That's snug. That's good. That's a real tight fit.
All right, guys, we got everything done that we're going to complete today, so we're going to call an episode 11, a lot done. Andrew, Wally, Mike, open up, guys.
Oh.
Yeah. There it is. So next week, I think we hook up the A-Racer and put some oil in it and fire it up, right? We can do that next week?
Hopefully, I think we're good to go.
What else are we missing? Anything?
That's really it.
All right, guys, so the engine is pretty much complete. We got everything on there, so fingers crossed for next week. Tune in. If you guys want to tune in Tuesday night and see it live, if it blows or not, 8 p.m., become a Patreon down below. Otherwise, Saturday morning, 10 a.m., you guys will get a fresh episode. All right, thanks to Wally, Mike, and Dirt Bike Tricks for another successful episode. We'll see you guys next week for episode 12 when we crank this guy up and see if we got a running big board. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good night.